So when Lisa Leslie is on Angel Reese's podcast and gets asked anything you would want me to work on going into year 2, Lisa Leslie has a laundry list she's already written out. Your layups suck. Your layups suck. You can't finish. You can't finish. You can't. Lisa Leslie had a huge list.
Have you ever wondered what occurs when a basketball player's ego surpasses her abilities? Unapologetically, Angel Reese is giving us front row seats to that very spectacle on her brand new podcast. And wow, it's amazing.
I don't know what the scouts were looking at. I really don't. But following the 7, God has a plan, and it is what it is. And you ended up in Chicago, but I'm just telling you.
Going into season,
you were ready.
Thank you. Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give?
From WNBA Legends, which exposed her layups to low audience, as we dive into this train wreck that has the basketball world buzzing. Are you ready to let's go? You know what? Angel Reese can't seem to shake off Caitlinclark's shadow, even on her own court. Her attempt to stay relevant is backfiring in the most embarrassing way possible. You won't believe what her own mentor Lisa Leslie had to say about her game. Reese unabashedly started Angel to give fans a glimpse into her life outside of the court, but it has since evolved into an unexpected comedy of errors. In every episode, regardless of who is seated across from her or what the topic is initially, it always comes back to the one and only Caitlinclark.
Angel Reese on the Unapologetically Clout-Chasing Caitlinclark podcast. I think that's what it's called. Unapologetic Clout-Chasing of Caitlinclark podcast, hosted by Angel Reese.
We have to wonder what's really going through Reese's mind. Is it a case of intense rivalry, covert admiration, or is Clark simply that dominant force in women's basketball right now? It seems like Clark has turned into this invisible guest star that Reese can't avoid. Is it the guests who keep bringing her up, or is Reese unconsciously guiding the ship towards Clark Island? It's almost comical how predictable it has become. Episode after episode, we're witnessing this pattern. 1 minute, Reese is talking about her favorite pregame rituals, and the next, someone is raving about Clark's most recent record-breaking performance. Fans on social media are having a field day with it, suggesting that the podcast should be renamed The Caitlinclark Show, hosted by Angel Reese.
Because of women's basketball, whenever you think of Angel Reese, people often mention Caitlinclark. You've said in interviews, there's no beef, but the media keeps going on. This is your platform, so how do you feel about that situation?
I think just being able to be in that moment of it happening, you never realize how something can literally change your life. And knowing my 5 fingers and my other finger pointing at my hand could literally have changed my life for forever is crazy.
However, this is where things start to get interesting. If you think about it, every time Clark's name is mentioned, it draws more attention to Reese's podcast, and basketball analysts are observing that Reese's attempts to highlight her own journey are frequently overshadowed by discussions of Clark's accomplishments.
Why do you think people love Caitlinclark besides her skills?
She can shoot threes from logo.
You never seen that before. That's my point. Steph Curry, a little kid. Like Steph Curry, I love. You know why I love Steph Curry? Because I've never seen it.
You have to wonder how this is affecting Reese's reputation and her podcast objectives. Did she intend to establish a platform where people would continuously compare her to Clark, or is this just an unanticipated turn in the Angel Tale story? It's difficult to determine which side Reese is leaning towards at the moment, because there's a thin line between remaining relevant and becoming fixated. Are you prepared to hear what Reese's purported mentor has to say about him?
Lisa Leslie appears on Angel Reese's podcast, Unapologetically Angel. She gives Angels some advice. Just a hint, it has to do with...
When WNBA legend Lisa Leslie entered the Unabashedly Angel studio, Angel Reese's most recent podcast episode took an unexpected turn into Awkward City. While studio fans likely expected some lighthearted banter and perhaps a few nuggets of wisdom, they were treated to what can only be described as a public roasting session. Leslie, who is apparently not one for sugarcoating, chose to keep it real, and I mean really real.
Going into my season 2, what's some advice that you would give for me?
Season 2, I can't wait to work with you some more. The biggest advice I have for you is going to be how you shoot your layups.
Let's dissect this, shall we? Leslie, a two-time WNBA champion and perhaps one of the most dominant players in women's basketball history, wasted no time in giving Reese the death stare and dropping this bombshell of truth. The most important piece of advice I can give you is to shoot your layups. Wow, can you picture sitting there attempting to host your own show while your basketball idol essentially tells you that you need to work on your fundamental skills, but that, depending on how you look at it, things will get better or worse?
It's just a fact. It's more than a fact. She is not good at layups. But I was looking at her stats, so I jotted some down right here, and she shoots an abysmal 39% from the field. She shot below 50% on shots less than 5 feet away, which is bad. And even worse than that is that shots from 5 to 9 feet, 13.
Went beyond simply criticizing Reese's layup technique, pointing out that during her rookie season, she averaged a pitiful 39.1% from the field. For those of you who aren't basketball nerds, that's not good, especially when you take into account that Reese was shooting below 50% on shots that were less than 5 feet from the basket, which is equivalent to missing half of your shot at the rim, the easiest place to score.
This is like WNBA leveling up and all eyes on her now. I think that she knows that she has to completely restructure her form because that is not the way to be efficient in the post position that she is in. At the post position that she's in, a layup is supposed to be a given. She needs to improve her touch around the rim, like all over the place, but she seems to take these desperation shots.
Imagine this scene now. As Leslie continues to deliver these hard realities, Reese is undoubtedly perspiring to keep her composure. You can't help but notice the awkward tension in the studio, which must have been thick enough to sever with a knife. Keep in mind that this is the same Angel Reese who was accused of stat padding the entire season, to the point where her coach was sacked on the spot. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
Kennedy Carter Instagram account right here, guys, and I'm here to tell you, bruh, she's been going on a little rant all night long. Now, this is the tweet right here that kind of sparked everything. She stated, I think the ability to consistently make layups just put anyone in a different tier. So important to score easy. Now, a lot of people is insinuating that this tweet is towards Angel.
Pro athletes have a tendency to spill the beans on social media, and when it comes to the Chicago Sky, Carter just turned the heat up to boiling point. You know, those ambiguous tweets that make you wonder, what's the real story here? Carter tweeted about how important it is to make layups innocent enough, right? See, Angel Reese had been having trouble with layups all season. We're talking about a success rate of 42.4%, which is the worst in the WNBA. That's not just bad. Perhaps you should try underhanded, as Reese only managed to sink 136 out of 321 attempts.
Like I've been telling y'all, bro, she has been making it her business to sneak this Angel Reese every chance she get. Now, since she's been cut, it look even more obvious. Somebody said, LOL, you ain't down. Now, this tweet right here just popped up here. Somebody tried to come into the defense of her because we know she's a free agent. So, like, if you throw teammates, ex-teammates under the bus, that's going to hurt you even more.
However, a fan posted a graphic displaying these layup percentages, so there's more. Carter couldn't help but translate his comments for non-Twitter users. You did a fantastic job, and you won't lie as subtly as a sledgehammer, will you? When a player of Leslie's caliber takes the time to thoroughly analyze your weaknesses, it indicates that these problems go beyond simple rookie jitters or small imperfections. This public criticism goes beyond Reese's layups and shooting percentages and addresses deeper issues regarding her playing style and approach to the game.
Nobody mentioned this to Angel Reese through 17 to 23 years old. So every time she would meet a legend or meet somebody in the WNBA, meet a player, instead of saying, hey, Angel, let me talk to you real quick. Instead of looking out for her, you guys just do this again, because it's okay. It's okay.
Let's face it, when a legend like Lisaleslie tells you to fix something, you'd better listen. However, this wasn't the first time someone called Reese in her own show right when you thought Angel Reese's podcast couldn't get any better. You have to wonder what this does to Reese and Leslie's relationship. Is this the end of a mentorship? Or could this be the wake-up call Reese sorely needs? Uncomfortably, Shaquille O'Neal, her self-described father figure, arrived prepared to deliver some truth bombs of his own following Leslie's criticism. Let me tell you, they weren't your typical fatherly pearls of wisdom, either.